was all booked up and couldn't possibly see us for 3 weeks, that it usually takes 3 weeks to get a meeting with him. So, to me, I thought it was important as an organization that we try to make that contact initially, but I don't think this issue can wait 3 weeks, and so I think tonight that was part of the context in which we're going to plan where we're going to go next, because we have to have our voice heard on this issue. Time is of the essence, so there is no willingness at this stage for Mr. Rinaldi through his office to meet with us in a timely way. One of the things we're going to try to do is to try to find some locations in the community after as we've already done, and speak with people in the community if we can actually go out to some places and take our clipboard and ask shoppers and people to do that. We haven't been able to get those places online yet, but we're hoping to do that next week. So if you're interested in coming with 2 or 3 people on a Saturday morning and standing outside a liquor store or a grocery store to get permission to do that, then we were going to do it that way as well. The other thing we wanted to discuss was the follow-up of the non-meeting with Mr. Rinaldi. And Peggy has some postcards that have been provided that allow us to let let Mr. Rinaldi know what we think about the situation, seeing we can't do it, one reason we can't do it in person. And the other thing I would like to suggest is an open letter to the newspaper signed by the co-chairs on behalf of this group about the whole issue of the cutbacks and the need for the government to move on it.
Postcards have a picture of Lou Rinaldi with a picture of our hospital, and it just says, "Dear Mr. Rinaldi, I want you to defend our hospital against plans to cut vitally needed staff and services. Our hospital has deficits because our population is aging and growing and using its services more often. You must speak up for Northumberland. Other MPPs have succeeded in having almost all hospital deficits covered by the ministry. I ask that you do your best to achieve the same result. Thank you."
We had looked at the date of April the 10th. It's a 2 or 3 week. It's a Saturday. Basically go and, bear witness is how I think about when I'm in a march or like that, is to stand up in the community and let other people see that this is important to a lot of people.
But I say, if we can get thousands of people lining the street for a Santa Claus parade, surely to God, we can get people down there with signs and make it known that we need help with our deficit. And we're not going to do that by staying and we need more than, God bless our press here, but we also need a bigger range of press, like Toronto hopefully might be involved, that they could come down, because it's a larger scope of population that would recognize what we need in this community.
Is the morning a good time for people, better time if people think start in the morning and then everyone goes on to the rest of their tasks in the day? 10 o'clock-ish, if that works?
So 10 a.m. on April 10th, and we can make up our signs with Bristol board on whatever your issues are. It would leave the Northumberland Mall approximately 8:30 a.m. We would start boarding at 8:15. And what we would do is go down to where the health minister is going to speak at the Royal York Hotel, and I believe the rally would start at 11 a.m. There is seating for 48 people, but I need people to commit if they can tonight, so I can really firm up the bus. And if you want to put a down payment, it's between $10 and $12, depending on how many people we get to seat on the bus.
We have already had a hospital taken away from our area. We cannot let it happen again. Our hospital may be a business to some, but for hundreds of others it's so much more. A place you can take your child to when they are sick or hurt. A place your mother and daughter can receive screening for breast cancer. A place where rehabilitation can be offered to a loved one who has suffered a stroke. It's a place where education is offered to those living with diabetes to help improve their quality of life, and a place where new lives are brought into the world every day. Each and every part of our hospital is important and necessary to our community's health, and so are the many nurses, doctors, and staff who provide the care. The federal conservative government has had a chance to make Canada's healthcare system better and stronger. Instead, they are slowly destroying a system that millions of Canadians are proud and honored to have. I
dialogue, I want you to know that we have been working behind the scenes, our committee. We have buttons coming out. We have 2,000 that we've ordered, and it's all about health care. And that's what this whole issue is about, health care. It's not about the jobs, even though they're very important. It's not about the government. It's not about Lynn. It's not about the CEO in the hospital. It's about health care, our health care, your health care. That's what this issue is all about. Okay? The board is supposed to control the CEO. The CEO is not supposed to control the board. Everywhere you go, that happens. It doesn't matter which one is running. All the different non-profit organizations, and if anybody sat on a board, you'll agree with me, it's usually the CEO that controls the board. Why? Because we're all volunteers. People are there to help. They don't really have the time. Most people cannot read a financial. If I were to ask you, most of you wouldn't admit it, but most people cannot read a financial. So even when they see the financial, sure, that's fine. They pass it off and it's over with. So it is the CEO that controls the board. That could be the other way around. Now, when we're talking about this hospital, the difficulty is that they do not get it. Okay? What we should be doing in this community, we should be making our hospital larger, better equipped, more doctors, more nurses. We're doing it the reverse. What we're trying to do is lay off people, cut back on the services. Next year, there's nothing to prevent them from taking another service out, laying off more people, and in 8, 9, 10 years, we will not have a hospital. Because, and they will not tell you this, but common sense says that they don't have the money. We know they do not have the money. Okay? But if we open those floodgates, it's going to pour out. It's like the proverbial camel. Let him get his head in there, eventually he'll have his whole body in. That's what's going to happen with the lid and with the hospital and the government.
All right, good.
Where does our $10 go when we join the
Coffee.
It's the association, not the foundation. There are two. It's the Hospital Association, the Cobourg Hospital Association, not the foundation. Where does it go? It probably goes into the association funds. I know when I sat on the hospital board 20 years ago, you couldn't get anybody to go to the meeting because there was nobody in the association. That's the kind of democracy there is in it.
They've had about 55, 60 people in the last week sign up as new members. I got to tell you, that's atrocious. That's very important. That's why we're running these ads. The more people we have, the more strength we have, and if we have to make a change, then we have the